Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my So Fine studio. I'm Micki, and this is Gentle Yoga. So we'll go ahead and get started by coming to lie on the back. Now, you can also sit in a chair if you'd like. I'm trying to work on getting the right kind of chair so I can show some chair options, but I like to use the blocks to help me get down to the ground. You could also use a chair for this, or a lot of these poses could be done even in bed. So if you're wanting to bring the ground up to you, as you come to lie back, a fun option, I like to use props in this class whenever possible. So if you have a blanket, I find a really nice gentle heart opener is to take the blanket and make a little roll. And then you could, one option would be to roll the blanket all the way up and stretch it down the length of your spine from your tailbone to your head. But the option I like is just a small blanket roll that's going to go right behind your heart center. So I'm just trying to lay that out. And if the blanket roll doesn't feel comfortable, you're welcome to just come flat on your back. So I like to use blocks as well. You could have a pillow or bolster. So one option would be to drape your legs over the pillow. But as you come to lie back, go ahead and find that just right place. And then with your arms, you could either cactus them out to the sides or bring your hands to rest on your belly. And it's kind of nice because this blanket roll, it can kind of help lift the elbows. And then with the legs, you could either walk the feet as wide as the mat, tent the knees together, or some people might like a hip opener here. So to bring the soles of the feet might feel good together and then allow the knees to open out wide. But this is why I have the blocks here too, is because you could bring the blocks right underneath the knees. So find a comfortable way to arrive and just allow yourself a moment to settle in. You might imagine that there is this perfect form, an imprint of your body on the earth. It's almost like when you charge your electronic devices, you're plugging them in. Allow for a moment for your body to settle and plug into the earth, receiving the support, receiving the nourishment. And just allow yourself a moment to soften here, either closing down the eyes or softening the gaze. And you might imagine your thoughts like a nice big chalkboard. Maybe you imagine cleaning off that chalkboard for the coming week. Just starting fresh, leaving all of your thoughts of the past right behind you, all your plans for the future just ahead of you. Allow them to wait, pausing in this place in between the present moment. And as you arrive into the present moment, start to settle into your breath. Imagine your whole body is settling into the earth. Feel the support of the earth beneath you. Everything you need, all of the abundance that the earth has to offer you right at your fingertips. And then notice today if there is an intention for your practice. Throughout this series, we're exploring the yamas and the niyamas, and these are yoga's ethical practices. The second one is called Satya, which means truthfulness. You might choose to use this as an intention for your practice today. I just have a short reading from the book by Deborah Adele. She says, the jewel of Satya, truthfulness, isn't safe, but it is good. Truth has the power to right wrongs and end sorrows. It is fierce in its demands and magnanimous in its offerings. It invites us to places we rarely frequent and where we seldom know what the outcome will be. Truth demands integrity to life and to our own self. That is more than not telling a simple lie. When we habitually silence or distort ourselves, we begin to lose our lust for life and look forward or look towards other things to fulfill us. We can forget that we are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. I love that line. We are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one ever has or ever could. Just allow that feeling to wash over you, the feeling that you are completely unique, all of your contributions. And you are completely enough, just as you are, even here resting. And then if you'd like to invite some gentle movements into the body, from where you're at, you can close your knees up towards the sky, and then you might start to windshield wiper your knees from side to side. My little kitty Luna here, or Lily, sorry, mixed up her name. She took my spot. So if it feels good to have the blanket roll underneath you, underneath your back, as you sway from side to side. Or you could even press yourself up into a seat and find these windshield wiper movements resting on your hands. Take some nice deep breaths as you move from side to side. And then whenever you feel ready, allow your knees to settle on one side, turning your gaze in the opposite direction. You can take a pause on this side. Just allow yourself to settle, noticing where you can relax your effort. And then we'll inhale the knees back up to center. Exhale, float them over to the other side. Turn your gaze in the opposite direction. So you might be doing this on your back if you don't have a cat blocking your way. Take one more nice deep breath as you settle on this side. And then with your next inhale, you can float the knees back up to center. Go ahead and roll all the way onto one side, and you can press yourself up into a seat. Once you come to your seat, you might find a pillow or a blanket to help prop you up. So sometimes if you take a bolster, I like a flat bolster, or if you fold your blanket, you can make a nice seat for yourself. And remember, you can always do this sitting on a bed, a couch, or a chair as well. As you begin to arrive in your seat, allow your eyes to settle, maybe softening your gaze or closing down your eyes. And then we'll take a nice deep breath as you arrive here. Allow your sit bones to root down into the support beneath you. Allow your spine to lengthen. On the next exhale, you can begin to tuck your chin and bow your head towards your heart. Gaze down at your intention, living at your heart center. And then we'll inhale to sweep the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Exhale, gently soften the chin towards the chest. Inhale brings your left ear over towards your left shoulder. And exhale, allow your chin to gently tuck towards your chest. And go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath. Find softness, gentleness, stretching through the side of the neck. Allow any tension to release. The next time your right ear is floating over towards your right shoulder, take a moment to pause there. You might find some gentle movements, maybe gently shaking the head no. Inhaling to lift the gaze, exhaling to soften the chin towards the shoulder. And as you gently shake your head no, imagine yourself practicing saying no, speaking your truth. Satya, truthfulness. And as you come back to neutral, we'll start to find those head nods, gently shaking the head yes, inviting in new opportunities, practicing saying yes. You might bring to your mind's eye something you'd like to say yes to. And then we'll come back to neutral on your next exhale. Go ahead and sweep your chin back down towards your chest. And then we'll allow the left ear to float over towards the left shoulder. Allow yourself to back off 10% more. So you're not allowing yourself to go to that extreme edge. And then we'll find that gentle movement, soft, gentle no. Breathing down the side of the neck. Finding any tension that's living there and allowing it to gently release with your exhale. And then we'll come back to neutral. And you can start to nod your head yes. Oh, yes. Exploring your yes. And releasing tension, living along the side of the neck. Just before class, I was using some delicious CBD body butter to help massage the side of the neck by our very own Sandra Rose. Shout out to our classmate. Handcrafted PDX. So you can bring your head back to neutral and then allow your head to bow towards your heart. On the next inhale breath, we'll lift the head back up to center. Isn't that nice? Then inhale, roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, allow them to cascade down the back. Take a few rounds of shoulder rolls. Once more, gathering up any tension living in the shoulders, inviting it to release, and offering yourself compassion and curiosity as you move through your shoulder rolls. You might start to toggle one shoulder at a time, allowing for a nice stretch along the diagonal of your back. Imagine a line stretching from the top of your shoulder to the bottom of the opposite shoulder blade. Find that length. And then we'll change direction. So start to draw the shoulder up from behind and down around in front. One more nice deep breath like this. And then we'll go ahead and sync up the movement. So draw the shoulder blades towards your back and then allow your shoulders to come up from behind and down around in front. One more shoulder roll like this. And exhale, bring yourself back to neutral. Now you might change the cross of your legs by leaning your arms back, stretching your legs out in front, and then reversing the cross of the legs. Remember, you can also sit wide-legged if that's better for the knees. Any kind of comfortable seat that will work for you. I'm going to cross the awkward way and realize that I've now made my mat all jumbled up. From here, it'd be nice if you had a strap, but you could also use like a washcloth or like a dish towel would work. Also a belt or like what is that? A sash to a bathrobe. So if you have something that can help lengthen your arms, that would be nice. So we'll just drape the strap over the right arm, or any item that you have close by. And then you can reach your arms out wide to the side, spread your fingers wide, and then curl your fingers in so your knuckles are pointing forward. You see that? So we're finding a little stretch for the wrist here and the forearms. And then you might inhale, reach the knuckles up towards the sky. Exhale, allow them to stretch down towards the ground. So you're just rotating your wrists up or your knuckles up and down. And then we'll spread the fingers wide. And then from here, you can reach your right hand up, pat yourself on the back, maybe grab hold of that strap. Then you're going to rotate your left fingertips or your left thumb down, wrap that hand around, and you can grasp hold of the strap. So you just have a little bit of tension between the hands. Hopefully you can see that my hands are grasping hold of the strap. And then find your comfortable seat. Allow your spine to lengthen. Allow your elbow to point up towards the sky. And then allow yourself to soften here, tucking the chin slightly towards the chest, lengthening through the spine. Allow the shoulder to melt away from the ears. And see if you can soften here 10% more. On the next exhale, you might peek the gaze behind the left shoulder. Just finding a little rotation for the neck, peeking behind you. And then on the next exhale, maybe you bow your head to the left, allowing your gaze to soften down towards your left side body. Take one more nice deep breath here, and then we'll gently release the arms, bring the hands back into the lap, maybe close down the eyes. You might try a few shoulder rolls here, just loosening up, allowing yourself to soften. Then we'll reach for that strap once more. You can bring the strap so that it's draped over the left shoulder. And then let's spread the arms out wide to the sides. Go ahead and spread the fingers apart, and then we'll wrap the fingers in to make a fist. Start to bring the knuckles forward. And then we'll do that same up and down movement with the knuckles. Just finding a little stretch for the forearms here. On the next inhale, you can come back to center, spread the fingers wide, and then we'll reach the left arm this time up and back. So you can pat your hand on your back, reach for the strap, and then we'll dial the right thumb down, spreading your fingers wide, allowing the back of the palm to point to the back of the room. And then you can wrap that hand around behind you and just reach for the strap. This side might be a little different than the other one. You could walk your hands together as much as you like, or allow that right hand to just sit at the low back. On your next exhale, go ahead and peek your gaze behind your right shoulder, since that's the hand that's down behind you. And then on the next exhale, you can soften your gaze down towards the ground. Take a nice deep breath here. And then with your next inhale, you can release, set the strap off to the side. And you can decide to stay in a seated position for cat and cow. I know not everybody wants to be on the knees or on the wrists. So from your seat, if you're going to take your seated cat cow, and this could be from a chair or on the bed as well, you would inhale to lift the heart forward, pressing your palms against your knees, and then exhale to round the spine back, tucking your chin towards your chest. So if you'd like to stay in a seated position, feel free to explore your cat cow here. You could also use a blanket underneath the knees to create a little bit of cushion. And then if you have blocks and you want to be off of the wrists, sometimes I like to give my wrists a little break, and I bring the blocks on the medium setting and then rest the forearms on the blocks. From here, you can inhale, drop the belly for cow pose. Exhale, round into the spine for cat. And if you don't have blocks or feel like that's not steady, you could also bring your forearms all the way down to the ground for cat and cow. So allow yourself to explore, moving your spine. Take a moment to really appreciate all of the different movements your spine can make. After a few rounds of cat and cow, it could feel nice to draw a big circle with the belly button. Remember, you can do this movement also from your seat. They call these Sufi rolls, especially when you're seated in Sukhasana, a cross-legged seat. So just allow your spine to trace that big circle. You might pause anywhere that you feel extra sensation or that needs attention. And after a few more rounds, go ahead and reverse the direction of your circles. As you move your spine, can you practice cultivating awe and wonder? What an amazing design. We'll take one more nice deep breath in whichever direction you're moving. And then you can come back to a neutral spine. And from here, we'll inhale, take a nice deep breath to lengthen the spine. Then as you exhale, go ahead and curve your gaze behind your right shoulder, bending your hip towards your shoulder. If you're seated, that could look like a side bend here. On the inhale, we'll come back to center, and then exhale. If you're in your tabletop, you'll peek your gaze past your left shoulder. Find that curve, bending your hip towards your shoulder, shortening through one side, lengthening through the other. So I'm just showing the seated version. Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to come onto our bellies. So you'll want to move your blanket out of the way. You can always pick it up, move it off to the side. And then from our bellies, I'm going to go ahead and stack your palms so that you can rest your forehead right on your belly, or right on resting your forehead on the back of your hand. Sorry. Your belly is resting on the earth. You can untuck your toes, soften through your hips, soften through your glutes. Allow yourself a moment to settle in here. It might feel good to kick the heels towards the sit bones and allow the heels to gently sway from side to side with your head resting on your hands. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then you can stack your elbows underneath your shoulders. Lift your chest. Press your palms into the earth and find Sphinx pose. Pressing the tops of your feet into the mat, you can gently, energetically drag your hands back as you lift your heart forward. You might find a few shoulder rolls here. You can inhale, soften your ears down to your shoulders up towards your ears. And then as you exhale, allow the shoulder blades to glide down the back, coming up into your Sphinx. That feels good. Maybe you take 2 more shoulder circles. Then we'll inhale, coming back to our Sphinx. And on your exhale, you can turn your gaze over your right shoulder, peek back behind you. Inhale brings the gaze back to center, and then exhale, turn your gaze to the other side. On the next inhale, you can bring the gaze back to center, and then exhale. Once more, we're going to soften the head down to the back of the hands. You can release through the low back once more by kicking the heels towards the hips and then rocking the ankles, the legs from side to side. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then on the next inhale, you can plop your feet back down to the ground and then slide your arms back as you lift your head to one side. Allow your left temple to come down to the mat, or if that feels too far away, you could have your temple come down to a block. Take a moment to rest here. And then on the next inhale, we'll lift the gaze to center, lift the arms, lift the legs, float up into a locust position. Balancing on the belly, find a soft exhale here. And then we'll take a few nice deep breaths, keeping yourself lifted upright. You're a flying superhero. See about engaging the core, lifting through the heart. On your next exhale, you can turn your gaze to the left, and this time soften your right temple down to the mat or to a block, allowing all of your effort to soften. Soften through your glutes. Soften through your chest, your temple. Allow yourself this moment to rest heavy on the earth. Then on the next inhale, we'll bring the palms underneath the shoulders. You can slide that block out a little ways in front. Make sure you have enough clearance on your side. So if there's any props there, you might move them out of the way. We're going to extend the right arm directly behind you on the ground, so your palm is face down. Then you can start to creep the right fingertips directly behind you as you roll onto your right side. So you're using your left hand to help push you over onto your right side. You could use a block here underneath your head and stack your legs. Or if you want to go a little further, you might bend into that top knee and then allow that foot to touch down behind you. So you're kind of coming into a twist. Another option is to reach down with your top hand, that's your left hand, to grasp hold of your left ankle. And this would be a good opportunity to use the strap too, because if your hand doesn't quite reach your ankle, you could use the strap to lasso the foot. And then that would give you a little bit more space. Grasp hold of the ankle. Allow the knees to stack. Allow all of your effort to soften here. You might keep a little activation though in the legs by flexing the toes towards the knee. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we're going to release the foot if you were in a bind. Roll back onto the belly, and this time we'll stretch the left arm directly behind you. You can roll all the way onto your left side, creeping the left fingertips behind you. You might allow your head to rest on a block. You could leave the legs stacked, or maybe tie yourself up in a strap like I am here. You might bend into that right knee and just touch your right toes down behind you. Or you could use the strap or your hand to reach down and grasp hold of your ankle for a quad stretch. Remembering that each one of these shapes here is infinite. So you have so many different variations. Feel free to allow yourself to explore and find your favorite. It doesn't have to be like anyone else. Remembering that quote, you are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. So allow it to be your own. Whenever you feel ready, you can release a bind if you're holding onto your foot. And then we'll roll back onto the belly. We're going to make our way to standing. So however that looks for you, you can press up to tabletop if you like. If you want to take a downward facing dog, you might use blocks, or even a step stool could be good. I was thinking I should bring a step stool out here to demonstrate. You might even use your blocks on your medium setting though, as long as they feel supportive underneath your hands. And remember, you can always opt to skip a downward facing dog if you like, or maybe take a child's pose instead. We'll tuck the toes under, and you can lift the hips up and back. You might take a moment to pedal your heels towards the ground. And if you wanted to use a chair for this, you would just be bringing your hands maybe down to a chair. And that could be a really nice stretch for the upper back. You can lean back. Find some length through your spine. Maybe pedal your heels towards the mat, sashaying the hips a little side to side. And then we'll start to walk the hands towards the feet, or the feet towards the hands, and come into a forward fold. If you're using blocks or a chair, I like to bring the blocks up to the high setting. And then you can press into your blocks or into your shins or into your thighs. And we'll inhale here for halfway lift. So you're pressing up with a flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. This time in your forward fold, you might grab your opposite elbows and just allow yourself to gently ragdoll here from side to side. Allowing your spine to lengthen and sway. And then we'll come back to neutral. You can release your hands down, press into your feet, sweep your hands out wide to the side, press into your legs to come up to stand. And then from here, we'll circle sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center in prayer. Inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale to draw them to your heart center. And one more time like this. And go ahead and release your hands to your sides, coming into mountain pose. What's so exciting over there? You're going to come into your Tadasana mountain pose is what we call that. So you can start to feel your feet rooting down into the earth. Start to allow your heart to lift. Whoa, there she goes, knocking stuff over. Sorry about that, you guys, the excitement. She knocked the cat painting over. And then we'll inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead. Now you can grab your left wrist with your right hand. You might not be able to see that on my camera, but you're starting to lean over to the right. So just finding a side bend all along the left side. You might even bend your right knee. Heel your right heel off of the mat, lengthening through your left side. Then we'll inhale to come back up to center, straighten both legs, and then we'll switch sides. So you're going to bring your left hand to wrap around your right wrist and just arch a little bit over to the left. Maybe you want to peel your left heel up, bending into the knee, lengthening through your right side. Then we'll inhale to come back to center. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Go ahead and release your hands to your side, coming back into your mountain pose, Tadasana. Rooting down through your feet. Feel your feet start to absorb any nutrients and support that the earth has to offer you. Allow your shoulders to melt away from your ears and bring your awareness back into your heart center. On the next inhale, we'll blink the eyes open and then you can spread your arms out wide to the sides. Let's bring the right arm over the top of the left. Give yourself a nice big hug. You can rock a little side to side. Breathing in to the back of the body. That space between your shoulder blades. You might imagine that this is the place, the seat of your self-care. And then we'll inhale, come back to stillness, open the arms out wide to the side. Maybe call to mind a friend or a loved one, someone you'd like to send a blessing of support to. This time we'll wrap the left arm over the top of the right. You can send them that nice big hug, Once more, breathing in between the shoulder blades. Feel that blessing from your heart center going out through your pores, shining out into the world, into that person who is needing some extra support. And then we'll blink the eyes open, release your arms out wide to the side. You can bring your hands down now into Tadasana. We're going to play around with balance in tree pose. So if you have like a piano, that's what I have over here, or a tabletop or a wall space that you'd like to use to help you with your balance, that's helpful too, so that you don't want to feel like you're going to fall. So we're going to come to our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Take a moment to close down the eyes and call to your awareness, your intention. Then invite your hands to meet at your heart center. You can bloom your 3 middle fingers open. So we call this a lotus flower mudra. Bring your intention into the palm of your hands. Notice it glowing there. And then we're going to get ready to explore balance. So from here, you can just shift your weight into your left leg, peel your right heel off of the mat. There we go. So your heel is just lifted. You can stay right here, or you can open that right knee and maybe you just kickstand your heel right against your ankle. You might just notice that gentle pressure, like a massage on your ankle. You could slide your foot up onto your calf, or you could jump the foot over the knee and plant it on the upper thigh. For me today, I like anchoring my toes right on the mat, right on the ground, pressing the heel against the ankle. Once you find your balance, you can explore a dristi. This is a soft focal point. So it could be a fixed place on the ground. Maybe it's at your heart center or out at the horizon. Now we'll take a nice deep breath, bringing your awareness back to your intention. You can allow your hands to float up towards the sky. Almost imagine like a dandelion puff. Send it out into the universe. Allow your arms to open up. You might just point your fingers up towards the sky. With your next exhale, you can bring your hands out in front and then step your foot out. Finding balance, step it out onto the ground and then relax all of your efforts. Sway. Allow your arms to gently graze your sides. Maybe that cat painting looks better like that. Now we'll come back to center into our Tadasana mountain pose. Once more, you can bring your awareness to your heart center. Invite your hands to meet at your heart, and then bloom those 3 middle fingers open, keeping the thumbs and the pinky finger touching into your lotus flower mudra. And then we're going to find balance on the other side. So this time you might peel your left heel off of the mat, grounding down through your right foot. You can open that left knee out to the side, bring the heel to rest on your ankle, and maybe you can keep the toes rooted down. Or slide your foot up to your calf or above your knee. You don't want to press on your knee because your knee doesn't want to go in that direction, whichever direction. So finding your tree pose, Vrikshasana is what we call that. And then you can stay here, or you might send that blessing, that intention out into the universe, stretching your arms, above your head, growing your tree limbs, feeling yourself so rooted, yet also strong and flexible. Just practicing balance, noticing that soft drishti, keeping yourself here in the present moment, the soft focal point. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the arms out in front. You can kick your left foot out in front and then step it out to the side. Find a wide stance. And then allow your arms to gently graze your sides, shaking it all off. Take a nice deep breath here, and then we'll come back to stillness. Coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose, tuning your awareness into your breath, into your heart center. And then we'll blink the eyes open. There was a request for pigeon, so I'm going to take us to pigeon next. But I also want you to realize that there are some other options. So I'll first guide us to pigeon, and then you can watch and see about taking yourself there, or wait, and then I'll give you another option. So from our mat, we can inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift, pressing into your shins or the blocks, lengthening through the spine, and then exhale to forward fold. You can plant your palms either on the mat or on blocks, and you might come into your downward facing dog. Walking the feet back, walking the hands out in front. And then from here, we're going to bring the right knee to the right wrist. So you bend the right knee and you bring it towards the wrist. Then you can slide your left leg back behind you. And you might move these blocks to the high setting. So this is an upright pigeon. And you might feel a nice stretch through the front of your left hip. Now we can do a lot of things to support ourselves in the shape. So you might take a blanket or a pillow, and I like to bring it right underneath that right hip so that you can help build the floor up to you. And then a lot of times people like to settle in. So after a few rounds of breath, you can allow your torso to come down to the ground. One way to support yourself is to stack your fists. So you make a little fist with both hands, stack the fists, lower the forehead down to the fists, or you could use a bolster underneath the front of your body. If this shape is just not going to work for you, and that's okay, you might try a figure four. So a couple ways you can do figure four. You might use a strap for this, but you're going to come onto your back. And I really actually recommend, if you have a bed or a wall space, to do figure four with the support of those props. So I'm going to use the edge of the bed, and you would use the wall in the same way. So you can come to lie on your back and then stretch your feet up onto the wall or onto the bed. And then to get that same stretch through the right hip, you would bend the right knee, place the right ankle onto the left thigh, and then you could start to draw the shape into the body. So what I like about the bed or the wall is this allows your whole arms, your whole upper body to relax. But sometimes people like to, if they don't have those wall spaces, they like to wrap their hands behind the back of their left thigh and draw the shape to the body. I find it a little easier to do that with a strap. So I've wrapped the strap behind the left leg, behind the left thigh, so that way I don't have to reach my arms as far. So find what's going to work best for you and allow yourself a moment to soften and settle in. Imagine for a moment that at your heart center is a little bubble machine that produces bubbles of gratitude. Allow those bubbles of gratitude to bubble up from your heart and spill out from your heart center. Allow them to float freely through the body. And then find those areas of sensation. Maybe that's in your hip, your glutes. Can you send those bubbles of gratitude and breath to those areas? We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then if you have yourself in a figure 4, which is what this one is called, you could open your arms out wide, allow the whole shape to fall over to the left, planting the right foot on the mat. You could reach down with your left hand to grasp hold of your right foot, or for a gentler twist, you could stack the knees. If you're coming out of your pigeon pose, you could still find a twist. So that would look like you were in pigeon, you had your right knee forward, you could soften onto your right hip, and then you have your legs in a pinwheel, and you could wrap your left hand onto your right knee and turn in a twist, gazing behind your right shoulder. So find any version of a twist coming from your figure 4 or your pigeon. Take one more nice deep breath in your twist, and then we'll get ready to set up for the other side. So if you're coming into pigeon, and that's kind of like a more face down pigeon, you might start in a downward dog with those blocks. And so I like to have the blocks help lift the ground up. You could lift the knees coming into your downward dog, and then draw your left knee towards your hip, or not towards your hip, towards your wrist, and then extend your right leg behind you. You might bring that blanket underneath the hip to just also find a little bit of support. After a few breaths here, you might allow your whole torso to melt forward. And now I have the bolster handy. So here's what this would look like. Laying maybe on the bolster, allowing your forehead to soften. And then remembering you have options. So oftentimes our bodies can change, and maybe sometimes pigeon was like our pose, and now it's uncomfortable. So see about finding this alternative, if you'd like, of the figure 4. So again, I'm just going to bring my feet to a support like the wall or couch. Extend the right leg long, bring the left ankle on top of the thigh, and then draw the right leg in towards the body. You could either weave your hands around the back of your right thigh, or you could use that strap behind the thigh, and then that would help lengthen the arms. Back in the 80s, we called this go-go gadget arms, right? You can find a way to lengthen your arms. But I really love the figure 4 with the supports of the wall or a chair, just to really help free up the arms. Allow yourself to soften here, feeling the earth rise to support you. Your brain might start to notice subtle differences from left to right. Maybe you can offer yourself compassion and curiosity here. Because this is your very own practice, you're welcome to stay as long as you'd like in this shape. But whenever you feel ready, you might turn it into your twist. So if you're in figure 4, you can float the whole shape over to the right, landing the left foot on the mat. You might reach down with your right hand. Maybe you give your foot a little squeeze, a little massage right there at the top of your foot where it meets your ankle. Or you could stack the knees for a gentler twist, extending the arms out into a letter T. You might turn your gaze over towards your left hand. And if you're coming out of your pigeon, you can do this twist sitting upright. So you might land on your left thigh or left hip, so removing that prop if you had anything resting underneath your hips. And then bring your legs in a pinwheel. Sweep your arms up towards the sky and then exhale, find a twist. This is an upright twist, so maybe you even use a block behind you to help lift your heart, turning your gaze behind you. Take another nice deep breath in your twist. And then from here, we'll come back to center, unwinding your twist. Let's go ahead and all come to a seat. So once more, if you'd like to lift your hips, you could always bring that blanket or bolster, and you might fold it up into a little pad just to lift the hips. Sometimes you can actually just slide it underneath your sit bones just to help give the back of you a little lift. And then from here, from our wide-legged seat, start to rotate your ankles a little bit, opening through your feet. And then we'll bring the right foot to the inner thigh. You can bring both blocks beside you and then frame that front left foot. Take a moment to gaze lovingly down at your toes. You might allow your toes to send you a little wave. And then we'll inhale to sweep the arms up, turn towards that left foot, and then bring your arms down to either the ground, your leg, or your blocks. And then we'll lengthen through our spine. Allow your heart to melt down towards your leg. With each inhale, you might press into your supports, lengthening through your spine, and then exhale, sink back down, melting your heart towards your knee. One more time, you can inhale, press up tall, lengthen through your spine, and then exhale, melt your heart towards your knee. Then we'll inhale to press it up tall. Sweep both arms up towards the sky, bringing your heart center back to center. And then you can drape your left hand onto your left leg. Start to slide the left arm down the leg as you reach the right hand up and overhead. You can come any amount. And maybe it would feel good to bend into that left elbow and allow your head to rest on your hand. And if you wanted to bring this shape up, you could even take that bolster or a blanket, something to bring this arm up a little higher. So notice I'm just resting my head on my hand, and then you might reach the right hand up and over, or maybe it would feel better to just relax that arm, allowing the hand to rest on your low back. Still finding that stretch all along your right side. On the next inhale, we'll sweep the arms back up and overhead. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. And then you can release the hands. Let's go ahead and reach both legs long. Give them a little shake. And then we'll bring the right foot, or sorry, this is the left foot, to the right inner thigh. I'm really mixing up my left and rights today. And then you might bring this bolster over here, and then we'll frame the front leg with your blocks if you like. You can inhale, float the arms up towards the sky, turn towards your right toes, your right foot, and then bring your arms down, maybe to frame your foot on the blocks or on the mat. You could also rest them on your leg. And with your inhale, you're lengthening your spine. With your exhale, you can fold over any amount to melt your heart towards your knee. Inhale to lengthen, pressing into your supports, lengthening the spine, and then exhale, fold. One more time like this. Allow yourself to soften here. And then we'll inhale, press yourself back up tall. You can sweep your arms up towards the sky. And then we'll soften the right arm onto the right leg. You can start to glide that arm down the leg as you arch the left arm up and overhead. Maybe you want to use a support to bend into your elbow and rest your head on your hand or on your fist. You could also tuck that left arm behind you and just open through your side body, open through your heart. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then on the next inhale, we'll rise back tall to center. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. And then we're going to get ready to come onto our backs. And I thought before we do that, we might just play around with boat pose. So I'm going to move some of my props out of the way. And then slide around so that my feet are coming towards the front of the mat. And I even have my blanket off to the side, bolster off to the side, and then you can reach the hands out. So start to lean back any amount using the strength of your core, keeping your heart lifted. This is the beginning right here of Navasana boat pose. You might bring your hands behind your thighs and hold on. You could even play around with lifting your shins, just depending on where you're at, how you feel today. Take a few nice deep breaths in any version of boat pose, and then we'll wrap the hands behind the thighs, roll onto the back, hugging your knees in towards your chest. You could begin to walk your hands up. You keep them here on the back of your thighs, or you might start to walk them up your ankles or your shins, or maybe your feet, coming into happy baby pose. Maybe it feels good to rock a little side to side, drawing your knees towards your armpits. You might land on one knee and stretch the opposite leg long, and then roll onto the other side, land on that knee, stretch that opposite leg long. And you can also use a strap here to help lengthen your arms, or just keep your hands behind your thighs so they don't have to go as far. So, whatever feels good to you. We are going to be making our way now to our final resting pose, but I always like to give you the option to find any other shapes that would feel good to you in your body. This is your own practice, but if you're ready for corpse pose, Shavasana, you can allow yourself to rest heavy on the mat. You might tuck a bolster under the knees to help lift the knees. This nice big round one is really nice for that. And then that could also be a nice support for the low back. If you find that laying flat on your back is uncomfortable for the low back, another option is to come into constructive rest. And that's with your feet flat on the mat. And this can sometimes be gentler for the low back. Allow the knees to knock in together so they can support each other. You can either rest your arms at your sides or bring your hands to your belly. And allow yourself a moment to soften. Softening through the forehead. Softening through the eyelids. Allowing your eyelids just like little delicate blankets. Close over the eyes, giving the eyes a chance to rest. Allow your shoulders to soften. Feel yourself melting a little bit into the ground. Imagine for a moment that you're lying on a cool slab of clay. Just feel the weight of your body make that unique impression into the earth. An impression that only you can make. Bring your awareness to that glow from your heart center, your intention for your practice today. Imagine the hug from the universe in the form of gravity, holding you to the earth. Give yourself this chance to rest by keeping that to-do list, that chalkboard of your mind, all cleaned off, ready for a fresh new week. Allowing thoughts of the past or plans for the future to softly fade away. As you rest here, you can bring your awareness back into your heart center. With each inhale, feel your heart expand in all directions. With the expansion, feel your capacity to give love expand. And with your exhale, that delicate balance, allowing yourself to also receive love from your heart. And then you can float your awareness out of your body for a moment. Allow your awareness to hover and drift out into the stars. Start to marvel at this amazing universe, basking in the mystery. Notice your form resting on the earth. And see that glow of your intention, your inner light of awareness. Throughout the week, you might ask yourself this question: is my yes coming from a dark corner or from the light in my heart? Recognizing your own truth and celebrating Satya, truthfulness. Remembering we are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. Allow your awareness to float back down into your heart center. Allowing yourself a moment to linger there. Because this is your very own practice, you're welcome to stay as long as you'd like in your final resting pose, Shavasana. Imagining those bubbles of gratitude once more filling over from your heart. Allow them to circulate with your breath. Gratitude for all of the parts of your body. You might bring to mind a place in your body that needs special attention. Send it extra gratitude. And once you find those bubbles of gratitude reaching down into your fingers, into your toes, you could start to invite some gentle movement back into your fingers and toes. Gently rotating your wrists, your ankles. And as you move the joints, you offer them gratitude. And that gentle movement is so nourishing for the joints, helping to lubricate them. And then feel free to take a long body stretch, reaching your palms past your ears. Find length in your body and take up as much space as you can, finding that expanse. Whenever you're ready, you can roll onto one side, come into a fetal position, allow yourself a few more rounds of breath here. Rest and be reborn. Whenever you feel ready, you can use the strength of your arms to press you up into a seat. We'll invite our hands to meet at the heart center. And you can either listen in or join in chanting one round of Om, and then we'll sing Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace to ourselves, each other, and enough for the rest of the world. Go ahead and take a nice cleansing breath, inhaling and then exhaling out through the mouth. You might sigh it out. And then we'll take a nice deep breath for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can allow your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and privilege to have this opportunity to guide you through your practice. Thank you all so much for being with me and Lily this morning. So take your time. If you have any thoughts or questions about class, you can feel free to let me know. I'm going to have to get up, little baby.
Bye, Lil.
Okay, I'll be right here.
Bye, Micki.
Bye, Micki. Thank you.
Yes.